laundering is really what the word sounds like. It's taking dirty money and cleaning it. And that dirty money often originates from criminal activity. My name is Kelly Richmond Pope. I am a professor of accounting at DePaul University in Chicago, Illinois. And I teach forensic accounting, managerial accounting, and financial accounting to both undergraduate and graduate students. So when we think about money laundering, we really think about it in three different stages: placement, layering, and integration. And when we talk about placement, that's when that dirty money enters into the financial transactions or enters into a bank. And then when we talk about layering, we talk about using financial institutions to layer that dirty money with clean money. And you do that by depositing small amounts in a bank. And typically you deposit amounts low enough so that it's not detected by law enforcement.
Michelle Chambers would roll up in her BMW Z3, brand new, right to the bank, and she carries in a briefcase full of cash and opens it in front of the teller and says, "How much can I deposit before you have to fill out one of those government forms?" That statement alone causes the bank to fill out one of those government forms.
But the term laundering of the money really came from the fact that criminals would put money in cash-intensive businesses like laundromats, casinos, nightclubs, strip clubs, mom and pop convenience stores, places that were really cash heavy. And so those tend to be really good places to launder money because cash is a very hard transaction to follow and to trace. So that's the layering aspect. Then when we talk about integration, that's when we start buying assets, like we may make an investment in a building or buy some expensive machinery, and we start integrating it into a regular financial transaction. And so money laundering is really hard to catch because of this placement, layering, integration type schematic. It's hard to figure out what point the money laundering process is at. The interesting thing about the costs associated with money laundering is it's really hard to quantify because those costs remain outside of the system. So the whole purpose is you have this illegal money and you don't know its origin. And so you're integrating it into a legitimate business. And so sometimes the costs associated with that are kickbacks. You're paying people off to include them in this whole process. A lot of times you have taxes that you're paying because, again, you're trying to make this illegitimate money legitimate. So what you're trying to do is enter into a regular process, so you want to pay the taxes. Sometimes you see people create fictitious invoices so that they look as though they're buying equipment. So it takes a lot of skill. There's a lot of cost and a lot of mental costs that go into a whole money laundering scheme because there's so many moving parts that you have to keep up with. Unlike other schemes that are more simplistic, like embezzlement. Embezzlement is really just taking money. But money laundering is a different level of sophistication. And you have so many people watching the way money moves through the system, which makes it so complicated. Stolen money is really, really hard to spend because we're almost like a cashless society these days. There's not often times where you have somebody that goes in and spends $70,000 cash on a car or spends $250,000 cash on a new piece of equipment. So cash transactions really set off a red flag because we really don't operate a lot in cash.
All of a sudden, they have a BMW convertible. They bought plastic surgery. They bought breast enhancements, tummy tucks, cigars. They bought humidors. They bought expensive wine.
So when you start seeing people move around with large amounts of cash, it sends people asking questions. And the likelihood of getting caught goes up. Casinos are really hotbeds for money laundering. And if you think about it, it's because casinos are a huge cash transaction. Thousands, millions of dollars of cash are going through a casino on a daily, monthly, annual basis.
Most of the money went to Las Vegas to be laundered by Hoffa's connections in organized crime.
It makes it a prime place for a criminal to put money in because we naturally don't question cash transactions in a casino. So if an influx of cash comes in, you expect an influx of cash to come in because that's the normal operation of a casino. So it's a really good place to hide dirty money because of the nature of the business. And so again, if you think about cash-intensive businesses are really, really great places for criminals to hide money. But casinos, those are like, that's like bingo, the jackpot, because there's so much cash there. You can compare a casino to a laundromat or to a convenience store or to a nail salon. Yes, there's cash that exchanges, but not the level of cash that happens at a casino. What's really important is for us to educate casino managers, CEOs, operators of any high cash intensive business, because we want to let them know what their role is in fighting crime. You think about where a lot of criminals make a mistake, it's often at the layering process, because it's at the layering process where you are making small increments not to be detected. So a lot of times banks have a requirement under $10,000 is not detected. And so if you started to notice that one particular customer is coming in every day, or a bunch of branches in a certain geographical area every other day, and they have transactions that are $9,999, then that can alert you. That could be a red flag.